Hello, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Sharon Rogers, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Wells, Maine. And I am not coming to you live tonight. I try to every Friday night, but sometimes things get in the way. And tonight I am at a benefit auction for Thrive New England, an organization that fights human trafficking and helps support survivors of human trafficking and educating high school students against human trafficking. So thank you for joining me. Let's get started. I think it's a great little Christmas card for you tonight. Simple to do, and I'm going to show you how you can step it up. We're going to be using the Cottage Wreaths stamp set tonight, and this is a very economical stamp set that covers every season. It has greetings that are very generic, like hello and grateful. Again, that covers every season, but it also has some seasonal specific stamps as well. Boo, Merry Christmas. The grateful does obviously cover Thanksgiving as well. We've got leaves and acorns, great for fall. We've got a spider, great for Halloween. We've got Merry Christmas. And then we've got a leafy wreath. And again, depending on the colors you choose here to stamp with, and the bow, you can cover spring, summer, winter, fall, all of it. So it makes a great beginner set. We are also going to be using just 2 colors of ink tonight, Smoky Slate and Night of Navy. And we're going to be using basic white cardstock, and that's the only color of cardstock. So I've begun by cutting a piece of thick basic white cardstock in half. So this measures 8.5 by 5.5. I've scored it at the 4 1/4 mark. Whoop. All right, there we go. And let's see how quick this goes together. So Cottage Wreaths. This wreath comes with this little arrow over here. So what I did, and I'll show you why later, is I marked a little Sharpie right there, just so that it lines up. There's a coordinating die set that goes with this stamp set. So knowing which way is up on your wreath saves you a lot of time. So my up is up there. I'm going to bring in my Smoky Slate, ink up my stamp. Now this is a distinctive stamp, which means it's going to stamp in a multiple of strengths of Smoky Slate. You're going to see a light leaf, you're going to see a darker leaf. And that just adds a lot of dimension to the wreath. So here you can see some of the light ones, and then you can see the darker ones, obviously. I'm going to bring in my Night of Navy pad, and I've already got my berries mounted. So let's see if I can add some berries around here. I love blue and silver and white at Christmas time. It's not silver technically, but the Smoky Slate's pretty close to it. I'm only going to keep those 4 berries. I don't need anything else because I'm going to add a bow. Now, if I add this bow on here, the leaf is going to show a little bit. I'm going to stamp my bow in Night of Navy over here. While I'm at it, I'm going to stamp this Merry Christmas right in the center. Now remember, if I'm a beginner stamper, I don't have a lot of tools. I've got a little bit of paper and I've got a little bit of ink and I've got a stamp set. So to add a little bit more dimension here, I'm going to cut out my bow, just what we call fussy cut it. And this bow doesn't take long to fussy cut. Some of the other things in this stamp set will take longer to fussy cut. It's very difficult to fussy cut the inside of the wreaths. And so for those who like that cutout look, we have dies that will automatically do that. But you would need a Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and most beginner stampers don't have one of those yet. If I were a beginner stamper, and if you're a beginner stamper listening to me here, and you love stamping so far, then your best thing to do would be to get the starter kit. Now, Stampin' Up! Calls anyone who buys a starter kit a demonstrator, but you don't have to demonstrate anything. You can just be stamping for yourself. The starter kit comes with $125 worth of merchandise for only $99. Stampin' Up! Will pay the shipping, and you'll also get a free month of Paper Pumpkin. You'll get access to online tools and services and ideas, early access to buying new things. Now look at that. Isn't that really cute? All I have to do is glue that on there. I'm not gonna, because I'm gonna step this card up a bit, but all I have to do is glue that on there and I'm done. Really classy Christmas, right? Just simple, clean. This is my kind of card. But the best part of when you get the starter kit is you get discounts on all future purchases, at least 20%. And that's going to be for at least 5, even 6 months, and longer as long as you're remaining active. So if that's something that interests you and you want to get it all, this is the best way to do it. Get the starter kit. So you can contact me if you're interested. But let's see how we can take this up a notch. All right. Well, I mentioned the dies. So if I pull in the dies, and the dies are more expensive, they're metal, but you get 22 in this particular set. So let's see, the one I need is not right handy here. It's around somewhere because I just used it a second ago. Here it is. Remember how I said I made a little black mark on my stamp? This corresponds to where that black mark was. So I can see now that, oh yeah, here I can see that this outlines my stamped image. That's where this goes if I wanted to cut that out. I'm not going to cut it out on this piece. I need to bring in another piece. So one of the ways that I could make this a lot nicer is by stamping and cutting out a wreath and putting it on here. So I've got another wreath cut out already. So if I were to put this on here, and I could make it line up to where everything matches, I think you can see that the dimension just gives a little bit of an extra effect here. Makes it a little bit nicer looking, I think. But we can take it up even a bigger notch. And let me show you how you can save paper at the same time. We're going to do the same process. I'm going to stamp my wreath in Smoky Slate. I'm going to add my berries. And I just moved them on the block a little bit because I don't want to mess up and grab an edge because it's wobbly. I like my stamp to be nice and sturdy. Okay, again, I'm going to put my wreath over here so I don't need to stamp berries there. I'm going to hold off on the Merry Christmas for a minute as well. Okay, and now I'm going to die cut this. Die cutting is very easy. Most of you watching this probably own a die cutting machine. I'm going to put this on here, and I don't want it to, oh, I wasn't paying attention, was I? I don't think I was paying attention to where my up was. So I think my up is in a different place. So this is why it's important to pay attention to where the up is. No. Maybe it is right. See how I'm, oh, there it is. It was right. I was just missing it for some reason. I don't know. But did you see me trying to find how it fit? If I hadn't paid attention and put that up, I could have been spinning that for a while now. So I'm going to take something sticky. I'm going to take a little piece of washi tape. You can take a Post-it, something like that. Just hold that down on there. And I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And it comes with number 1 plate and a number 2, and I need a number 3 plate. And that's when I'm going to put my cardstock on here with the die. And then I need another number 3 plate on the top. So that's my sandwich. And then I run it through here. I'll put this over here for just a second. And I'm going to carefully bring this off. I don't want to rip any of my cardstock. I'm going to hold on to this for just a second. You'll see why in a minute. So I have this piece. And remember, I said that I could just add this to my card, right? I could just pop this up and that makes it nicer. But what happens if I've got my die cutting machine? There are other things that go with it. This is an embossing folder. So this doesn't cut anything. It just makes impressions. Let me bring my machine back in. Here's my number 1 plate. And with embossing, this is a thick folder. So the thick folders, it's just telling me to use this number 1 plate, my folder with my cardstock in it, and then a number 4 plate. So here is my Stampin' Up! Logo. I'm going to put my card in there and line it up so things appear to be straight. Because this one has lines on it, let me show you. Because there are lines on it, I sort of want to pay attention to those and keep them straight. So I'm going to put that in with the fold in first and run that through. Let me show you what that gets you. All right, so now we have some music notes on here. All right, and that is, you know what, that is upside down because I really want these dots to be on the right of the music notes. You know, if I flipped it over, it's not really remedying it because now it goes underneath anyways. We're gonna call it good for now. But that's what I probably should have paid attention to, was I needed to turn it around in here so that the Stampin' Up! So that Stampin' Up! Was up at the top here. And I can see that, yeah, my white dots are here. All right, so let's bring this in. We're gonna pretend that this was fine. Now see, I'm not live tonight, but I'm treating it as though I were live. If I were making a mistake in front of you, I just have to keep going. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to adhere this down. I'm not using dimensionals because I'm going to put some dimension on this card anyway. Now you can see that this did not line up. Remember, this is pretend that I started from scratch. Okay, this is not going to show because I'm going to put this over the top. Now when I put this over the top and kind of line it up, you can see that this Merry Christmas maybe isn't quite as centered as I wanted it to be. But remember when I made a die cut, I had this left over from the inside. So what I would do is I would put this in here and I would stamp it. So I would just line that up just like that. And that's going to be good. And so now what I need to do is I need to adhere that down. I'm going to adhere that down after I put this on. I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Dimensionals, which are just some foam adhesive hexagons. Going to just allow me to bring this off the page a bit. And it's that dimension that really kicks the cards up a notch. All right, let's see if we can get this to where it's supposed to go. Wasn't really paying attention. Okay, I know that my My bow goes somewhere over here, so this is going to be good. All right, so that looks about right. And now I can take my little Merry Christmas here, put a little glue on the back, and put that right through that center right there. Because I couldn't, for those of you wondering, well, why didn't I just take a white piece, not die cut, just do the die cutting afterwards? And why didn't I just do that and then stamp Merry Christmas in the middle? You can't stamp Merry Christmas. These are little letters. You couldn't stamp that over something that's textured. So there I have that. We need to go ahead and put our little bow back on. Where's our little bow? Right here. I'm going to do that again with some glue. I could use a dimensional, but I've got one other thing that makes this card a little special. So there's that. I can bring in a package of rhinestones, or I can bring in these festive pearls. Now the package says red and green adhesive backed pearls, but in the catalog they're called festive pearls because you can't see the red when it's closed, but there they are. The green is very light, but it also comes with silver and gold. So we're just going to take one of those, and I'm not sure where my take your pick tool is, but again, if you're a beginner stamper and you don't have a take your pick tool, you just use the edge of your scissors, and let's put that little pearl right in the center of that bow. And so then we have this beautiful little card. Now, the one thing this stamp set doesn't have is a sentiment for the inside. So you would either have to write your own message inside, or you would have to find another sentiment stamp. And there are so many nice Christmas sentiment stamps that you could purchase and buy and own forever and, you know, make a gazillion Christmas cards with it. But that's the simple card I have for you tonight. So it could have been very simple with just the front stamped, or we can die cut and emboss and really glam it up. The choice is yours, and it really comes down to how much time you have and what your supplies are. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope you will join me on Tuesday when I have my next Tune In Tuesday class, and we'll be doing 3 cards, and the class is free to watch. But there is a card kit that you can get for free with a $35 minimum purchase. The details for that will be in my email that I'm sending out Sunday night, so you'll get to see what the projects are in advance. And if you don't subscribe to my email list right now, go ahead and look in the description of this video and find out where you can sign up. And as a thank you for signing up for my email list, I will give you a free tutorial on my one sheet wonder cards, where you can make a bunch of cards in no time with basically one sheet that you've stamped, and then card bases, of course. So I hope you will subscribe, and hey, you can always catch the class here on YouTube for free anyway, just by subscribing to my YouTube channel and hitting that little bell icon. I hope you'll do that. It's a great way to just get notified. And then if you're not available, you can always watch the replay. Very easy. So if you have any questions, you can always email me, stamperhood@gmail.com. I am so happy that you joined me tonight. I will not be live again next week because I'm going to a Stampin' Up event, and I'm going to have lots of great stuff to share with you afterward. But I will not be live next Friday. I'll have a video for you anyway. Have a great weekend, everybody.